All right, so we're here in beautiful Phoenix, Arizona, at the Grand Resort, having a great time with new friends and learning a lot, and getting a lot of good education and motivation. And so we all got together. We just had a wonderful supper and having a good time. We just decided maybe we'd get together and ask Tim to tell us how he got into DEA and SFM and how it's going for him. So, Tim?
Yeah, well, hey, thanks very much for that, Robert. And hi to everyone who's watching. Yeah, happy to answer that. I started in SFM not that long ago, February 2016 it was, and got into that on, I remember it was Valentine's Day. It's hard to forget when over dinner your wife asks you to sell some of your guitars. Yeah, that's dinner that's hard to forget. So, but anyway, I'm glad to say I didn't end up having to sell any of my guitars, but at that stage, because I knew nothing about online marketing, never sold a thing before in my life, I ended up having to Google, how do I sell guitars online? And it was there that I first came across an SFM ad, a little bit like you are now, and that has led me basically down a route of transformation, personal transformation. I've been in a job my whole life, spent 20 years in a job. And
what do you do? What did you do?
I was a lawyer. Had been for 20 years. At that stage, just while I was kind of longing for something more, I was also happy. But it's like I don't know if you have this saying here, but back home in Singapore, we've got this saying where if you put a frog in a pot and you start boiling, you get the same thing here.
Yeah.
So I was a bit like that frog in a pot. Right? Started life as a young lawyer, thinking, can't be that bad, like whole family are lawyers, and as that water started boiling, I still thought, yeah, this feels pretty good. They're paying me all right anyway, so I'm just going to keep letting that water boil. And eventually, I suppose it was a wake-up call, right? And when I got into SFM, the realization that there was so much more than that world I was looking at. So, pardon another frog analogy, but back home there's this phrase, frog in a well.
Mm-hmm.
You get that here as well, where that frog just sees that patch of sky, right, in that well, and that's what I felt like. I felt like that's all I knew. That was my world. There was so much more. I'd grown up with friends who had reached management positions. Coincidentally, around that time, two good friends of mine that started our careers together asked me to have a look at their CVs, because as a lawyer, everyone assumes you write well. That's a strange reason. And so they asked me to look at their CVs, and their CVs had their resumes had a lot of detail in them. They had done so much sales, they raised the revenue of the company this amount, and then that made me look at myself a bit, and made me think, gee, if I became unemployed, right? I was an in-house lawyer, which meant I worked for a company. If I became unemployed, what would I put on my CV? Mm-hmm. Right? Could say the number of deals I'd done and all that, but it was worrying because there was nothing tangible. Also, there was this great shift towards outsourcing in-house legal departments, and so the constant worry on my mind was, I'm 20 years into my job, 20 years from retirement. If I was made redundant, couldn't get another job, in-house legal jobs became increasingly rare. What was I going to do? Right? And taking the education at the SFM, learning that online marketing was a viable alternative, right? Something you did not need to go back to school to learn, because at that point I'd spoken to my wife as well. Do I do an MBA? I'm too old for a normal MBA, so do I do an executive MBA? Where would I do it? That would mean another $50,000-$80,000, and the possible and having to live away from home, right? Go back to school, live away from home. So the thought of learning a new skill in a home environment became very enticing. The thought of being able to earn while I learned that was very enticing as well. So, wow, I'm sorry, that was a really long answer for a really short question.
So how does it work for you? How has it changed your life to this point?
Wow, in immense ways. I mean, for one, I used to work, a 60-hour week used to be a short week for me.
Wow. Yeah.
And I work from home now, which means I get to see the kids a lot more. I'm around the family all the time.
Awesome.
I cook dinner every night. And I actually find that I enjoy it. That's the best, really the best part of my day. Because while working, I mean, I just want to be real, right? Working from home gets lonely, and kids are at school, wives at work. So cooking dinner means, for me, in my mind, they're coming home, right? So that's the downside of working from home. There's no water coolers to gather around and grumble about the boss, because guess who the boss is, right? And yeah, so that's the biggest change in my life, and financially it's been fairly rewarding. I managed to replace my income in about 6 months.
Awesome.
So Tim, you're here now in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And you obviously come from a different part of the world. Have you done a lot of traveling?
No, actually. One of the things I didn't like about corporate life was traveling, because it's fun and glamorous at first, right? But after a number of years, it gets tiresome. So I avoided traveling as much as I could in the corporates, and once I became free of the corporates, I know a lot of the lifestyle business thing is to travel, but the fact is you do what's important to you.
Right.
And
Right.
traveling and seeing the world isn't one of my priorities right now. Priorities, be at home, be with the family. The traveling I've done has been for the training, because that happens a number of times a year, and that's the beautiful thing about live events, right? It's like meeting everyone.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm glad that you decided to travel for this event, because being here in Phoenix and getting to connect with each one of you as part of the team, just in this brief time, has been so encouraging in making and forging those connections. I think is what I actually was drawn to about SFM, was the fact that there was a community around that. Can you tell us a little bit more about your experience within the community?
Yeah, that's a huge part of that. I am so glad you brought that up, Kelly. The community in SFM is unique, because it trains you to be an entrepreneur. And really what SFM is, it's education with the possibility of earning while you build your business. And how an online business works. A lot of an online business is built around marketing, and the value that SFM brings is it teaches you how to be an online marketer. And to be a successful online entrepreneur, you need to learn how to market, because learning how to market helps you identify what products work well, what products don't, whether there's a demand for your product, and how you cross the hurdle from being a complete starter with no idea of how to start this to someone who's achieved some results, is to what they call build your list. And your list is your following that allows you to sell anything to anyone. Now, building your list can be expensive, and that's where the earn as you learn in SFM comes in, because you may have heard of like just buying a list, But if you're buying a list, what's going to happen is you're buying someone's list which no longer works. That's why they're selling it, right? And that's really cheap, but you're not going to get any sales from that because firstly they don't know you, they don't follow you. Whereas when you've built your own list, you're building you're building like a fan base. You're building people who wanted to join you because of your advertisement, and from there you build your online business. Once you've got your list, people that are following you for you could be selling anything, right? You could be starting your own business. If you've already got your own business, and you want to bring that to online space, you still need to build that list because that's how you're going to market, and that's how you're going to keep in touch with your potential customers and grow your customer base.
Sounds like a lot though. So they offer us training on how to do all this, right?
Yeah,
Lots of
absolutely. And when I started in this journey, I was a really spoiled lawyer. I had people type my emails for me, for example, and so if you're typing your own emails, right, way ahead of me, and where I started. But the training's very comprehensive. You'll get to a module where you're setting up the system, and they literally take you click by click how that's set up, and so that's just really helpful to have. And sorry, Kelly, back to your question about the community. So building all of that, it's difficult, incredibly difficult to do it alone. And I think that's why we've all experienced the power of the community, the power of people who just pull you along.
Yes.
It can get so tiring when you're doing that on your own, right? You remember earlier I talked about the loneliness factor of working from home. Just having someone to say, hey, you're almost there. Or, it's that little bit more because you can't see it, right? It's like climbing a wall. You've got your ladder on the wall and you're climbing that same wall, just putting one foot before another because you've set all your goals. You're just achieving your goals one by one. But as long as your eye level's not above that wall, you can't see what's beyond it.
Yes.
And so whether you're on the first rung or you're just before the top of the wall, just looking at the wall. And sometimes you just need someone to tell you that, hey, you're almost there. Right? There is something beyond that wall you're climbing.
Yes.
And that's the power of the community. Yes. It's just to show you that next step that you're about to take. It's actually there. It's not a black hole, and a lot of it is the evidence that it's possible. Evidence that people in the community have built online businesses, and they've walked that road.
Yes.
And if you want to walk that road, you can see that that's possible. We were talking about the 4-minute mile yesterday, right, Robert?
Yes.
And what came up from that was that before the first person ran a 4-minute mile, no one could run a 4-minute mile. Yeah. But the moment someone did it, everyone was doing it. So that strength of knowledge that an online business can be built by people like you and me, right? As ordinary people who have never done this before. You don't see any internet whiz kids here. But
that was going to be my question.
Same here, because you're a lawyer, so and I'm a blue collar worker. Come from the back. Those are really long distance in between education and everything. But that doesn't matter because the education is in SFM, and it applies to everybody. That's what's so awesome about it.
Absolutely. There's no rocket science to what we're learning, and I mean, the point is that this opportunity for this low barrier of entry exists now. We don't know how long this opportunity will exist because after a while, everyone will know what we're doing. So that's the other thing about having a community is that they continually educate us.
Right.
It's like these few days of training that we've been on happens on a regular basis. we've watched some of the training on video marketing today, and it was done by the same guy who did it 2 years ago. And the amount of difference in the training from 2 years ago was pretty phenomenal.
Yes. Wow, it was
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
It was huge.
So Tim, you've been with SFN now since, as you said, Valentine's Day of last year.
Yeah.
Have you reached that stage of profitability in your company?
Yeah, I first replaced my salary on a profit basis in August 2016. So that's 6 months after I came in.
Oh, that's very good.
And it's been profitable since.
Uh-huh.
Still
Yeah, it's still profitable. It's increased in profitability.
Good.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, so it's been an amazing journey because no business I know returns money that quickly,
Right.
right? And it can return money that quickly because we don't have to build our own product. We don't have to source our own product. The students of the SFM are given really high commission products to sell. The products can go as high as 67% commission and over $1,000 on a single sale. Right? And if you compare that to like selling stuff on Amazon, because I sold stuff on Amazon when I first joined and got a bit desperate and was looking around for opportunities. I started selling stuff on Amazon and they pay you like 6 cents. Sorry, not 6 cents, 6% commission. And 6% compared to 67%, it's just so much easier.
Right.
Yeah.
67%, right? And
Yeah.
and you don't need to source your own products. You don't need to build your own products. You just sell what's given to you. And as a student, you don't even need to do your own invoicing because you sell the products and the money magically appears in your bank account. First year's audit was a little bit strange because my accountants asked me how I got all this money without issuing a single invoice. And that took a bit of explaining, but just goes to show how you don't have to set all of this up. And I think anyone who started a business before will know that it takes just setting up your infrastructure takes a couple of months, right? If you need to develop your own product, that could take years.
Yeah.
If you need to find a product to sell that you have rights to sell, that could take you months as well. So short-circuiting all of that, you learn how to market, right? The coaches are there to tell you whether your marketing's working or not working, what to change, and and you really get going from a couple of months in, right? So if you're really diligent, from weeks in, you could get going using the in-house templates and start marketing that. But that's how I got to replace my income after 6 months.
I'm sorry, the caring of the mentors in the company is something that you don't find at a lot of other companies either. It's because they genuinely care. Their purpose is to help us succeed. Period. I mean, that's their whole driven purpose, and so that makes it work for everybody.
Absolutely.
What would you say, Tim, to the people watching about what your biggest highlight or biggest, euphoric moment has been, in your journey with SFM since you started? What was one of the highest of highs that you got?
Okay, the highs keep getting higher. So the first high was making my first sale, which happened after a few months. I made that first sale, and I saw that commission come in. It was a small sale, just a $20 commission, and that $20 felt better than any lawyer's paycheck I got before that. Just because it's I felt like for once I had created or added some value,
Yeah.
right? And then the first big sale, which thankfully didn't happen too long after that. First big sale came in, you get like a $13,000 commission, and you're like, what? $13,000 commission, and that became like new high, right? But what actually became the highest high was when one of my members made their first sale, and when, because then it's proof, right? You realize that, wow, this doesn't just work for me; it works for everyone.
Right.
And when that one, you get that one sale from your one member, and then after that person gets a full membership, right? That becomes incredible. You can't explain how that feels, because it's like I'm no longer in business for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in business, and it's actually helping someone.
Yeah.
And it's not some delusion. I tell myself that, yeah, I'm sure this will help someone someday. And that's been the most amazing.
Yeah. Awesome. Tim, you've been such a great help to all of us, and
Yes.
a
We're very
mentor,
grateful.
and you know, the encouragement that you give us. What would you say to the people, if there's one thing that that would help someone continue on this journey, that has made the decision to come in long term? What is something that you would share with the people that has been the greatest stronghold that's kept you going and helped you to keep all of us going? What's that advice that you'd share?
I think the biggest thing that I took away from my first live training experience, was that it's possible to make this work. It's people that have achieved results. I mean, you hear all about these internet millionaires, and they're not real until you meet them, right? And then the moment you've met them, you realize that they're not that different from you. It's and you just keep knowing that they're not that different from you. Then you realize it's just a matter of time, right, before it happens. And I remember Stuart and Jay saying that to me when I had no results, and I was sitting there with my mentors who had done like 60,000 that month, in that 1 month.
Wow.
And Jay said it's only a matter of time. And I was like, 60,000 a month, I've not made a cent with this, been in a couple of months, matter of time, but how much time, right? And honestly, that was June last year, June 2016. My first $60,000 month was in July or August 2017. So just over a year.
Awesome.
And Stuart said today, was it today or yesterday, when Stuart said that no one who comes in and actually does the work fails, right? Yeah, it's just a question of coming in, doing the work. But it's a bit like a gym membership, right? You can buy a gym membership and not use the gym,
Right.
and nothing's going to happen.
Right.
So if whether it's someone who's come in already or someone who's not come in yet, I'd say if you want your life to change, then take a step and change your life.
Yes.
Right? Because if you don't take that step, it's just going to be the status quo. Nothing's ever going to change.
Right.
What's the definition of insanity?
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing
Exactly.
over and over.
Expecting a different result.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Awesome.
So this internet business, of course, is global. There's people that live in all different parts of the world. How have you found the challenge of communication? From the perspective of you're in a different part where we are. How do you deal with that?
I think in this day and age, communication it's not that different, communicating across continents. I think we see people from all different backgrounds in this room, and communicating is really a matter of trying to understand how you can best help the person you're communicating with. As long as you keep the person you're communicating to in mind, and if you've got their best interest at heart, that definitely stands the cultural gap.
That's a very good answer.
Awesome.
So this business opportunity, at least from your example, it provides time and financial freedom, and but there's more to that, right? So what do you find the most fulfilling through your journey?
When I started, it was all about how do I get out of my job? How do I get stability? How do I make sure I retire well? And it was all about me. And one of the things that this program provides is personal growth opportunities, and that personal growth has helped me cross from being an employee to being an entrepreneur, right? And that's seeing that growth is incredibly satisfying. But I think more than that, when you get to a certain point of growth, you can't grow beyond that level without teaching someone. And the culture of SFM is learn, do, and teach.
Right.
And it's there to ensure that giving back is in the minds of people even as they start in this program. It can't be all about me, because the reason Jay left his former company and joined Stewart to form SFM and DEA is because he didn't like the people that he had made very financially successful in his last company. And so he came here, created this culture of giving back. And that's true to the highest levels of the company, right? Where the top affiliates do a lot of charitable work, they do the medical missions and the building of shelters in Africa and all that. But it starts at the entry of the company. From your induction into the system, there's something called the 90-day blueprint challenge. And that 90-day blueprint challenge is all about learn, do, and teach, right? You've learned something, you've carried out, you've executed it, that's the do, and then you're expected to teach it to the next person. And that teaching portion helps you to grow past that wall that you hit when you're just trying to do this for me. And that's honestly the most satisfying.
Well, we have been the beneficiaries of that, so thank you so much for all that you've done and contributed to each of our journeys with SFM. I know that for me personally, your insight and your wisdom and guidance has just continued to propel and motivate me in this direction. And so there are times when I have not wanted to move forward, and yet somehow there's always this, I don't know, it's almost like when you've been so impacted by something, you can't help but it become contagious to those people around you. And because of the amazing journey you've had through this, it just kind of filters down, I think, to all of us and ignites us from within and gives us all the more strength to move forward. And I appreciate it greatly. I know we all do.
We're very grateful.
Yes. Very grateful.
Thanks for saying that. No, just you guys allow me to live this, to live out that purpose of helping others. So thank you all.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.